So touching a bit on the mental side, so you were scoring a ton of goals. The expectation probably was rising. What was your mindset like coming to the rink? I mean, I feel like in business, maybe not necessarily people in this room, but overall, I think a lot of people hope things are going to work out, and they just kind of show up and they just kind of expect things to change. I mean, did you expect to score every game, win every game? Like, what was your mindset going into that period where you're like, we're going to do this?
Yeah, most people, they get on a hot streak and they think about when's it going to end. Well, I don't know if it was conscious or not, but every day I would wake up scared to death I was never going to score another goal.
Whew.
And that was my motivation every day to go out and do whatever was in my power to make sure that I had the ability to score goals. And whether it was going out before practice and taking 100 pucks and just shooting them into an empty net. And to this day, I still think that is, for any goal scorer who's in a drought, that's all you have to do is you just get, it doesn't have to be 100. Get 25, 30 pucks and just shoot them into an empty net and never miss the net. And all of a sudden, you'll just see the net when you shoot. And it's funny that you'll score the next game because it's just, you just get that mental, that visual of seeing the puck in the net instead of seeing the goalie. And so I also learned that I never shot in practice except for if it was like a game. Excuse me. And so whether I was coming down the right wing or the left wing or down the middle, whether we were doing a drill where I was stationary, wherever I had the puck, I knew in a game where I had to shoot it to be able to score. And so goalies cheat in practice, and Cujo, Curtis Joseph was always one of the best. And because I would talk, if you want to learn to score goals, you talk to goalies. And so I would always have a couple beers or dinner with Cujo, and we'd, he would learn just as much from me on what our shooters' tendencies were for him. And so he knew exactly what my theories were. And so I'd come down and he'd just stand on that far post, just leaning on it, and I'd hit him right in the pads. But I knew that in a game he would never be there, and that puck was going in the net. And it also made it so there was never a thought when you had to deliver the puck. You'd get it, you'd know exactly where you were on the ice, know where it is, and shoot it. Which, to be able to score that second and a half, to beat the goalie, that's all it takes. But if you have to sit there and look and then let the goalie set up and get square, that takes away your advantage. So I practiced like it was a game. Now, defensively, I did not.
Did you enjoy practice then?
No.
No?
I was born an extremely lazy guy. If I can find a quicker, faster way to get things done, I'll do it. But
So you worked hard at it?
Yeah, authority was never my thing, and the coaches and do this and do that. It was, I had a belief in how to play the game, and my own, within the coach's system, I found a way to play my own game while you still have to be a teammate. You still have to do the things that all your teammates are doing. But there's a way to find, just like in business, there's a way to be creative in your own way while towing the line to make yourself better and above and more elite than the next guy. And that's what we're all striving for. And I found out how to do that. And coaches now coach to not lose. And if they would just coach to win and teach their people to do things to win and be more successful, like we heard earlier again, Chad, it came out of here and had his worst year, but he learned from it and was way better. and it would be the same thing. It might not work right away because the players have to figure it out too. And you may lose a few games, but then all of a sudden it'll be like, wow. And then you're on a 10-game winning streak, and it's because the players are being creative and they're doing things outside the box that makes them a better team with the encouragement of the coaches, instead of getting in trouble for doing something that's beneficial. The coach is on there, and if you know as a player that the coach is on your side, you're going to be a better player.
Two things you said there that I think hit home with us. Number one is coaching to win versus coaching not to lose. I mean, how many of us in our business find ourselves coaching just not to lose versus coaching to win? I think that, in our base shop, it's something that we can think a lot about. I think it allows us to think at a whole different level, right, on the offense versus the defense. The other thing you talked about was creating your game within the game. My responsibility, our responsibility is to create this big vision for the team where here's where we're going. We're all aligned. We're all running the same direction. But within that game, it's important for you guys to find your own game. This has never been about just Steve Holbrook or Jared Sleds or Chad Thompson or Les. This is not about us. This is about us as leaders. We're on the front line. We're creating this vision of where we want to go, where we want to take this team. But within that, you have to find your own place within that game. And you got to play your own game. And you have to play to win. You got to coach to win. You got to play to win. I think so many times we're just playing not to lose. And I just wanted to kind of touch. I thought that's such a great point, Brett. Yeah. I got 76 goals last year. Maybe I can get 80. And how did those goals coincide with team goals?
I never set. I did once, and my oldest brother Bobby, who won a Memorial Cup with Dale Howardchuk in Cornwall, he called me. I said in the media, after I got traded to St. Louis, coming into my first full year, I said, if I don't get 40 goals, I'm going to be really disappointed. And he called me and he said, you can't do that. And I'm like, I go, why? I go, I believe that I can. And he said, but what if you don't? I go, there is no what if I don't. I think I can. I know I can. And I'm going to go and do it. And so I got 41 goals.
Oh.
And so other than that, it just steamrolled into what happened. And it was like I said earlier, it wasn't a goals plateau I was trying to get. It was that every morning when I woke up being afraid that I was never going to score. Wow. That was my goal, was to score the next game and the next shift, and if I got one, I wanted two. And I always, there was goals. Goals are goals, and at the end of the day, after I retire, there's 741. They don't look back and go, well, that one, that was like the 7th one in a 7-0 game. They don't look at it like that. But at the time, I did, and my goal was to get the most important goals. The first goal of the game. Tying goals and winning goals. Those were my. I always wanted to get the first goal, especially to put our team up 1-0. And then I always wanted to get that goal that tied the game for us to even it up, so that we could get the next one and go ahead. And obviously, the next one is I wanted to get the winning goal. Because there's nothing better than scoring a winning goal. And so those were the three. If I got the 5th goal in a 6-1 win, well, sure, it was a good goal, and we probably made a nice play or something, but it just, it's fluff. It's not, doesn't really mean anything, and that's, and I've always felt that. And then becoming great friends with Wayne Gretzky, he even felt stronger about it than I. Not so much the first or tying or winning, but his goals that didn't matter. He had such a problem with guys that scored a lot of goals and none of them were meaningful. And the other thing that Barry Melrose made me very aware of was scoring on the road. And he's like, anyone can score at home. You got to score on the road because it's harder to score on the road. And so that was another excuse me, another little psyche I had, is to bear down and make sure that I got goals on the road because those were harder to get.
There's water. It's interesting. You talked about getting the first one. How many of us are focused on getting the first recruit of the month, first sale of the month, right? It's like the 8th of the month or whatever. We're cursing our team because there's no apps on the board, right? No results yet. Yet we don't have an app on the board, right? We don't have anything going on. Yeah, it's easy to put up an app on the 25th of the month when you already got 42,000 points on the board. You throw up a term 20 for 600 points. But how many of us are trying to lead the team? That's a good point. What made Wayne Wayne? I mean, what was it about Wayne?
Well, I just think there's generational people that come around, and his physical attributes. I think we all realize is, he's 6 feet, about 165, soaking wet. But his mental strength and his commitment to be the best is beyond compare. He was the most ruthless guy I've ever played with, and I'll tell you a quick story here. And
yeah,
I still shake my head at it. And when he got traded to St. Louis, we were in San Jose, and I'm not even sure what the score was, but I had already gotten a hat trick. He had a goal and 3 assists. Shane Corson had 2 goals and 2 assists, and that was our line. And so we were up like 5-3 or something, and there was 15 or something seconds left in the game. And Mike Keenan put our line out, and the face-off was just outside our blue line. And so I'm standing there 15 seconds, and it's like, okay, I don't know why we're out here, And he looks at me and goes, switch with the D. I look at him, I go, what? He goes, switch with the D. I go, there's 15 seconds left. And we're up 2 goals. Let's drop the puck. Let's go have a beer. And he gives me the look, and when Wayne Gretzky gives you the look, you do it. He goes, switch with the D. And I go, okay. And the D obviously is hearing this, so he goes, okay. And he goes, I'm going to win the draw back, one time it in the empty net. Well, okay. And he snapped it back as quick as any pass I've ever got, and I one-timed it right off their centerman's ankle. And he goes down, and he wants to kill me. I mean, he's like, the game's over, what are you doing? And I just looked and said, he made me do it. And everything was okay. That's how ruthless he was.
Wow.
If it was 1-0, he wanted it 2-0. If it was 2-0, he wanted it 4. If it was 4, he wanted it 7. And he wanted every goal or assist on every goal.
Wow.
And that's why he's got 3,000 points and 2,500 assists, more than any other guy's got points, because he was just ruthless, and he wanted to be the best. He wanted to be the great one, and he was.
Running up the score.
And he's just the greatest guy in the world. Everyone loves him.
So he was he one of the most talented players, that you played?
Yeah.
I
I tell everybody, and I tell my kids, I tell anyone who will listen, that when I'm dead and gone, my grandkids and my kids will be able to tell people that my dad played with Babe Ruth of hockey. That's cool. If you think back now, and people, old guys, maybe the great grandkids now, my dad played on the Yankees with Babe Ruth, and that's exactly who he is and what he is. And I tell everybody, I go, don't take it for granted, because it's special.